What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. And it has been a while since my last upload, well over 2 months, and I can explain. I've just been really busy with work and I'm learning a new job and a new field. So that's just been taking up a lot of my time, but I feel like I'm getting to a place where I can kind of get into a rhythm again. And I wanted to make today's video because it's actually a product I'm super excited about, which hasn't been the case over the last few months. Nothing has really excited me as far as new gear, knives, or whatever. But this one has. I'm very much looking forward to looking at it a little bit more with you. I've only had it for about a day as of me making this video, so I haven't really got to use it a lot yet. But I have a lot of initial thoughts and I can't wait to share them with you. So without any more delay, let's just head over to the table and get right into it. All right, so getting into some specs on the Leatherman Arc first. It has a closed length of 4.25 inches. Which, just for a quick comparison, here's my Leatherman Wave, which I've had for over 10 years now, and it's pretty much the same, maybe a little bit longer, overall, but nothing to really, shake a stick at. If you open it up to this position, we're looking at 6.45 inches, so that's, again, pretty similar to the Wave. And I know you might be asking, why are you comparing this to a Wave? And that's because I don't own a Leatherman Free P4 or P2. So this is my Leatherman that I use the most. I do have a Super Tool 300 that just lives in my toolbox. But the Wave has been, in my bag that I take to work every day, or on my person. I've used this Wave for a lot of things over the years. When I worked as a zipline tour guide, I used this thing on a holster on my harness. I used it while I was working at Yamaha on an assembly line. And I used it a ton when I was working at a mechanic shop changing oil. This thing it's got miles on it. I don't know if that's going to pick up, but it's got some good use out of it. You can see. So that's going to be my measuring stick for the Leatherman Arc in this video. I know a lot of you out there probably do have things like a Charge or a Surge or one of the Free Series pliers, and you might be asking yourself, is it worth upgrading from those? I don't know if I can fully answer that, but I know from my Wave, I'm gonna go off the bat just say yes. It's been a good upgrade so far in the 24 hours that I've had it. So digging into the tool a little bit more, we're gonna close it back up with each tool that we have. There are around 20 total. So we're gonna start with the one that has got the most attention, and that is the Magna Cut blade. This blade is coming in at a length of 2.76 inches. It has like a PVD coated finish, I believe it. On the website, I was a little confused because I saw a PVD coated finish and then I also saw DLC. And I don't know if it's as much DLC as like a PVD, just because like when I would compare it to, if I were to hold it against like the DLC of a Spyderco knife that I have, it's not really the same. It really does seem like, as far as finishes, it reminds me of like the Thai CN finish that you can see on some Spyderco knives like the Sage 5 Blade HQ exclusive. So it's kind of similar to that. And you'll also see this finish all throughout the rest of the Arc as well. But the only tool that has it is the knife. Now, like with the knife, again, like it's the thing that has got a lot of attention and hype. It is the first multi-tool that has like a steel like this. A lot of stuff from the past with Leatherman, that was been like a big gripe with people, is they wish the blade steel in Leatherman's was better. So I know the Charge TI Plus, I think it has S30V blade in it, that's actually a fantastic option as well. But now you get the option of Magna Cut and a multi-tool if that is going to tickle your fancy. Moving on to the next tool, we have what I'm actually really happy about are the scissors. These are really big spring-loaded scissors. if we were to compare them to the scissors in my Wave, and a lot of you already know this because you probably are familiar if you're watching this video with the Wave or some multi-tools. I mean, it's just a night and day, you know, wimpy, 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 hefty, hefty, hefty. I still think, I've never owned a Surge, but I think these are probably not as big as the ones in the Surge, but they are definitely an upgrade from the Wave. Now, continuing on, we close that, flip it to the other side. Let's see, we have a saw. So we have the saw on the Arc. Then we have the saw on the Wave. Pretty much more or less the same, but they are a little different as far as shape. But yeah, I mean, I've always had a good experience with Leatherman saws, even on my Super Tool. It's always a good saw. And then on the other side, we have a file that has a metal side, or a file for metals, you know, material. Then you have a file for wood material, and then you have like an edge file for more finer work. So I use the file more than I think I do, especially on this one. I've used the file a lot more than I would suspect, but yeah, so those are the tools on the like outside, and I air quote that because, you know, with the Arc, it has the new, you know, free system in it. So essentially everything can be opened one-handed from the close position. So if you're not familiar with that, so like on this side, I can just push in like that and get access to tools, and like you're always going to pull them out in a group like this, and then you can just kind of like finesse it from there, you know, manipulate it with your thumb and index finger, middle finger, whatever, to get whatever tool you want out. Same on this side. So as we're here, let's just, you know, before we get into that, I actually do want to note the pocket clip. It does come with a deep carry pocket clip that you can put on either side. So I think that's a really great touch, because I'm probably going to use this more than the sheath that comes with it, just because I don't really care for stuff on my belt. So I really appreciate and value that they did include a pocket clip. Now that's just like a really standard thing all throughout EDC and tools and knives and stuff like that, is just having a pocket clip. But as we open it up, let's go this side right here. We have 3 sets of tools, or three pieces that pop out. So the first thing is this large flathead screwdriver or pry bar. I used the one on my Leatherman Wave. I'm not going to open it up, but the one that that's one of the most used items on my Wave was actually this tool right here. So it's really nice to see that. That's a really good size in my opinion. It has a bottle opener on it as well. Going on, we have a smaller driver for things like glasses. Don't really get a lot of use out of that, other than occasionally tightening down like sunglass, you know, screws on my sunglasses. But that's few and far between. So personally, I could have done without that, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna, you know, shake a stick at it more than it needs to be. And then we have an awl, which I actually use awls more than I, again, think I do. Like I'm gonna probably end up using this one soon for my dog's collar. He has a leather collar, so I'll probably make another notch for him. And then I believe this is a wire stripper. I have it written down somewhere. Where'd it go? Yeah, wire stripper. So again, I don't know, like, you know, with a lot of these like smaller things on multi-tools, whether it be Leathermans or Swiss Army knives or whatever, like I think I would rather just go get a pair of wire strippers that can do it really well. But it's nice to know in a pinch, like if you needed to use it, you can use it. So that's that side. On the opposite side, we have can opener. You could also use this as a bottle opener, but I would rather use the one on the large flathead. And then you have what I'm actually like really happy for on this is the bit driver. Now, like the thing that a lot of people were like, I don't know if complaining is the right word, but like they were pointing out when the free P4 and P2 came out, was that they took away the driver, right? Which like on your Leatherman Wave, your Surge, and your Charge, like all 3 of them had that, and those are considered like the higher end multi-tools from Leatherman. So when they came out with a new model that excluded that, a lot of people were just kind of like, yeah, they were confused. I mean, you can use whatever word you want, but I'm really glad to see it in this one. And that was actually a big reason why I ended up getting this too. So like if, they had announced the Arc and they didn't have this, probably wouldn't have gotten it. I wouldn't have seen that as a good upgrade from my Wave. But the fact that it does made that an easier decision. It had nothing to do actually with the Magna Cut blade. I have plenty of pocket knives with Magna Cut or crew wear, good blade steels. So like that's not as much of a driving factor as this is for me. So really glad to see that. And if you look closely, what's really cool about the design on this, you can see this little small L bracket right here. When you close it, it's to prevent the bit from falling out. Like there are magnets, but like that's just like extra security, which I think is really neat, because I don't know if it has it in the Wave. It kind of does have it in the Wave. There's like, you can kind of see a little nub right there where the tip of my finger is, and that's to help prevent the bit from sliding, out as well. But I think that's really clever design in my opinion, right here. Because at first I thought that was like another tool. So I was like trying to pull it out and I was like, oh wait, can't do that. So those are all the big tools that you can access when it is closed. And like I said, this is free technology. So it's, I'm not good at it yet, but one hand opening and closing, kind of like a butterfly knife. So this is it with, the whole tool open. You have needle nose pliers right here, regular pliers right here. You have wire cutters right here. And then I believe crimpers right in here for electrical wire. I personally wouldn't use, unless again in a pinch and the electricity was off, there was no power running through it, which would actually be this, it's the standard, like if you were working on electrical ever, no matter what tool you're using, you should probably have the power off. That's a free one for you out there. You should always have the power off. Again, in a pinch, this can work as a crimper, but I really do enjoy this Leatherman. I haven't had a chance to really like use it for anything yet. Like I said, I just got it the other day, but comparing it again to the Wave, you do see that the plier area is wider on the Arc than it is the Wave. I like the branding on the Arc as well. Having let's see if we can get it to focus, that USA mark on it. Like that a lot. And there was something else. Oh yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. It says stamped in here, built with free technology, right in here. I don't know if you're going to be able to read that or not. I'll kind of move it around in case the light can catch it, but I think that's pretty cool. It's on both sides. So overall, like again, I know a lot of people have, I don't know if gripe's the right word, or like concerns with the magnets in the Arc and the Free series. Like it'll pick up, metal pieces and stuff like that. I'm not really worried about that. I don't work a job where I have to worry about that as much, and I don't like live a life that, it's gonna be affected by that. But I totally get it. It's valid. Like, I mean, if I'm not gonna sit here and say your concerns are invalid, because it's an expensive piece of equipment. I think it was like $230, and that is also in itself, a factor that is pushing people away from purchasing an Arc because it is expensive. Now, is it worth it? For me personally, yeah. I think, like, again, I'm upgrading from something I've had for 10 years that it could, like, this Wave, I could still keep using it probably another like 10, 20 years. But the reality is, it's worn down. There's, some better tools out there on here than here, right? I like the scissors more on here. This does, I mean, like, again, I know I said just a second ago that the blade steel doesn't really matter, but it's not that it doesn't, that it matters. It's just, I've done some really bad sharpening jobs. If this can focus, I've done some bad sharpening jobs on this thing, and I know I could fix that myself and be an adult and learn how to sharpen well. But I think it was just time, and I'm okay with that. Like I was able to justify the purchase. I moved some gear to be able to buy this. If I were to say, just making it like, when I got this Arc, I had an immediate thought of, oh, this could be a really cool thing to see in a new model, right? So going back to the bit driver of it all, you know, again, the thing that a lot of people value, you know, this is it on the Wave, and then we have it on the Arc. Hear me out. So on a new model, what if we took the bit driver, this flat bit driver, and replaced either the saw or the file with it, right? So like you could engineer it to where there's more of a gap for it to sit in, because like clearly there's space already in it for it, right? If that makes sense. That might not make sense. To me it does. And you'd have to do a lot of engineering, you know, changes on this, right? So you take this you take this part right here, not the bit, but you can extend that maybe by like, I don't know, less than an inch, you know, or so. Get it to where it can sit inside the scale, the handle scale area, and then you have an accessible, you know, longer bit driver. Now, my thought is, you know, this is the extent of my like engineering knowledge. You would have to downsize the plier head, right? So, you know, you see how much wider that is compared to the Wave. You'd have to go to something like this size, like a little bit more streamlined and thinner, because this one's just so much wider. Which again, like, this is probably going to be stronger than that, but I don't think it, like, I mean, like, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but I think it would be fine. And you could probably still get wire cutters in here, because this is the Wave that doesn't have wire cutters, right? So like, they have clearly upgraded this Wave to the wire cutter ones, so it's possible. So you like get a thinner plier head, and that way you can get a little bit of more room clearance in here to get a longer bit driver. I don't know, that was just my thought. I think you know, like Kevin Garnett says, anything is possible, but not everything needs to be done. And that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I am a big fan of the Leatherman Arc. I think it's gonna do really well. I think those things that I had talked about, liking to see as improvements or maybe in a future model, could be really cool, but who knows? I'm not an engineer. I don't design these type of things, and I know designing a multi-tool is completely different as far as approach than designing a knife, right? Who knows? I think it's gonna be a home run product for Leatherman. I think it's gonna be really great. Despite the price tag, I think it's awesome. I think you're gonna get your money's worth out of this product if you purchase one. It's one of those multi-tools that you could buy it and have it for a very long time. So if you are in the market for a new one, again, like I said, highly recommend it. But hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one.